What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I'm sorry. It's funny. It's hilarious. It's all the things. I was going to say surprised was the word, but that's not the word. I'm superly entertained. I'm very entertained at the fact that these ponies and donkey unicorns are running around on Twitter acting like they know something. And they're just, they clock out of Twitter for a day, they clock back in. Anyway, the FTC got double smacked down by the appellate court. I believe it was the appellate court. They tried to do an appeal to Judge Corley's decision that was denied, right? They denied them their blah, 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 right? And then they tried to appeal and then they get got smacked back real quick. So now it's done. It's a done deal. So I listened to David Jaffe. I listened to Davey Jaffe's show. He did a little show for about an hour and a half or something like that. And he was talking about it was just like a chat thing. It was a stream. He was just talking to the chat and they had questions and stuff. And he was talking about kind of like, what does Xbox look like after this merger? I hope they don't mess up, or if they don't mess up, blah, blah, blah. They're always kind of throw a little negative salt, a little bit. But, he's pro games for the most part, but he definitely leans to Sony because, that's his alma mater, if you will. But at the same time, he asked a question, which was a very good question. What does Sony do? What does Sony do in light of these occurrences, these happenings, the results of them trying and failing to block the deal? What does Sony do? And I think he put three different scenarios. One, nothing changes and Sony keeps moving on, whatever. Two, Sony has a meeting and corrects course, if you will, to try to, change or adapt to the changing situations that are happening in the video game industry. Or three, Microsoft messes up and Sony doesn't have to do anything. So those are the three. And you know what? I'll agree with him for the most part. I don't think Microsoft is going to mess up per se because they are learning lessons real quick. Okay, so first you have to think about how they handled this court case, this FTC versus Microsoft, this whole preliminary and this recent court case. How did they handle it? How'd they handle it? They handled it superbly. They handled it with skill, precision. And I'm like, wow, they had their stuff together. And the FTC didn't know what the hell they were doing. They got notes from Jim Ryan. He speaks, so he's got a weird accent. So they probably looked at it as like, I don't understand. Is this British? It's British language? I don't understand this. Oi, and therefore, A. And so, you look at that, right? And then but a lot of people will say, oh, but they can't make games, or they can't bring games across the finish line, they can't do this, they can't do that. And they failed in Redfall, yes, and they admit it, and that's the thing, right? Microsoft and Phil, under the leadership of Phil Spencer, he's like, the buck stops here, I messed up, it's my fault. Even though it wasn't really his fault, per se, it's a lot, it's the people between him and all the way down to the person cleaning the toilets over at Arcane, Austin. That was where the game, right? That's whose fault it is. All those people. And I would blame more so Bethesda in that they were ill. They had a bad idea as trying to make Redfall a games of service game. That was the mistake. If Redfall was a single player game in the likes and in the kind of ways that their previous games were, it'd been perfect. It'd been awesome. But anyway, we're not talking about Redfall. We're talking about how Microsoft learned from that. Now, we have to see how Starfield comes out. If Starfield is a super duper banger, and this is an example of how Microsoft handles their studios that they are picking up now, then it's a wrap. It's a wrap for PlayStation. What do they have? They have all these games as service games. I understand the sentiment behind having 10 or whatever games as service. I'm going to say there's less than that because I believe they already canceled a few of them. And with this decrease in revenue for their games, they're not going to have the money to actually make all the games. So they're definitely going to cancel some more probably. I would say, 5 is enough. Why would you have 10? And I know they probably already have 5 out now, like Gran Turismo, MLB, The Show, any other things. I guess you can count Destruction All-Stars, Foam, what's that called? I can't remember what the game's called. Foam Stars. Marathon's gonna be one of them. Destiny, and there's 4 more that I don't know, whatever. So I think they actually showed them on the showcase. Yeah, the other one, that the first game, Fast Cash or whatever it's called. So there's 3 that I don't know. But anyway, that's too many games to. Okay, the likelihood that most of those will fail is 100%, because look at the industry. How many games that are actually games of service that are actually successful, that are still here after years? Sea of Thieves, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Warzone. What does Ubisoft have? I think they have a game. I don't remember. Or did they just close theirs? I don't remember. But there's at least these 4. I mean, there's more than that, obviously. I'm just blanking. So how is Sony going to have at least, well, let's say 8? How are they going to have 8? And how are they going to be successful? And also, they have failed numerous times trying to make these types of games. So A, the track record sucks. B, I have no confidence in them. C, neither does Bungie, because they freaking canceled or rebooted or whatever they're doing to The Last of Us Factions. That was the other one I forgot. So I have zero faith in their ability to make it games of service games. And the notion that they're doing 10 it's a good idea, because they suck at it so bad that the more that they have, the better chance that they have at succeeding in that type of game. I would probably cut that number in half and just put more money into the budgets of those the less number, like 5 games, instead of spreading the budget across 10. That's especially with the reduced budget. They're not going to have the money, because Call of Duty is Microsoft now. Microsoft is going to be making that bank, and PlayStation no longer has exclusive this, exclusive that, exclusive time, exclusive missions and skins and all that stuff. No more. Everybody gets the same thing. So what is the motivation for anyone to buy it on PlayStation over Xbox? Specifically, if the Xbox actually outperforms the PlayStation 5, which it probably will, because they're first party, and they will most likely use Xbox as the lead SKU, optimize for that first, and then optimize later for PlayStation. So, I mean, in the long run, it'll be close to equal, but if we're looking at power, and Xbox is more powerful, then it can't be equal. And that's where that whole parity clause stuff is whack. Now, I know Microsoft started that parity clause in the 360, I believe, era, and now Sony is doing it now. I don't think Microsoft should sign a parity clause with these guys. I would be like, nope, we're not doing a parity clause because your machine is weaker. Sorry, we can't do that. We're not making our game whacker because your machine can't handle it. Sorry. And so, I mean, they can still put the game out, because Sony's not signing they're not signing anything. So Microsoft is going to use what they've always used, and it's that the standard where Microsoft, and we're putting games on PlayStation Plus, or whatever, whatever they have as far as just standard contracts. And that's what they said that they were going to do if Sony doesn't sign. And if Sony doesn't give them a dev kit, they have no choice. They have to put out whatever they can. So Sony is self-prophesizing. They're self-fulfilling their prophecy of Microsoft actually making a worse version of Call of Duty on the PlayStation 6 because they're not giving them PlayStation 6 dev kits. They've said it. I don't know if it was in a legal court or a legal document, but they said it publicly. We got receipts. So yeah, Sony is digging their own grave. And Jim Ryan does not care. He's just like, he's like a spoiled ass brat leading $1 billion company. Y'all not gonna get it. I'm like, okay, then you're not gonna get the game. I mean, what do you want? What do you expect, Jimothy? What do you expect? But yeah, going back, the FTC got smacked down super hard. Ponies are crying. Ponies don't know what to do. I think some ponies might switch back because they see the writing on the wall. They'll try to hold on as long as possible, but they're gonna be like, yeah, I don't like this new Sony. I don't like Jim Ryan. They're gonna find a scapegoat in order to justify their switch back. MBG, do you think he'll switch back? Maybe. If the times get real tough and Xbox is the lead SKU and the most popular, yeah, all of them will switch back because they want to get them views. They want to be on the winning team so they can get the most views to get the most money. That's what this game is about. That's what this YouTube game is about. So, because MBG used to be Xbox. Red Dragon used to be Xbox. Zaire used to be Xbox. All these people used to be Xbox. So, and I don't really care. I'm not switching sides. I stick with Xbox because, Sega. I just saw a little tangent. I just saw a thing on Sega today. It was a little kind of mini documentary, but it was just like it's about 20 something minutes. And it was basically how two Japanese video game companies, Nintendo and Sega, were tied to the Yakuza, the official Yakuza, the actual Yakuza in Japan. And it started from the inception of, I believe, the Nintendo company, which was in the 19th century, 18 something. I could have sworn Nintendo was formed in 15 something. But anyway, I'll get my dates wrong. But anyway, yeah, it started, and there was kind of, because Yakuza is just about making money, whether it's gambling and stuff. And the gambling part was because Nintendo made cards and they were using the cards to gamble, playing cards. And so the guy, I forgot his name, but he made the Game Boy for Nintendo. He made other things before that. And he was literally going to the factories, where Nintendo's factories, to inspect the card machines, the machines that were manufacturing the cards, to make sure that they were operating properly, because the Yakuza was on his back, because they were getting decks that were a little bit off, and people can use, if your cards have a little bit of a variation in them, then if you're observant enough, you can see the back of the card and realize, oh, that's a this, that, and the third, if you memorize the cards. So they were getting screwed basically when they were doing their gambling stuff, because people were memorizing the cards and how they looked. Well, I'm just assuming that, but that's what I would do. But I can't. I don't gamble anyway, so whatever. But I was like, that's so interesting that the Yakuza was going over to Nintendo yelling at them, because this was in the 80s too. Going over to Nintendo yelling at them because their card machines were spitting out faulty cards. And then the whole Sega thing was a little bit weirder, because they had arcade games and it's just so weird. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna try to put the link in the description, but yeah, just look up Yakuza, Nintendo, and Sega. It might not get you the documentary, but anyway, but yeah, that was interesting. And then the whole, I'm trying to remember, Sega. Oh, Sega Sammy, yeah. So Sammy is I don't know if you guys know. Sega Sammy, right? Sega and Sammy joined. I think Sammy bought Sega, or they merged into one company, Sega Sammy, in 2004, I believe. And so Sammy is the part of the company that is in charge of the pachinko machines, and Sega is the games. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So in my mind, if you ever see Sega separate from Sammy, totally split, that means Sega's trying to get acquired. That means Microsoft's probably gonna buy him. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. But back to the ABK stuff. Last point, the stock, the ABK on was it NASDAQ? I can't remember which stock index it is, but they got delisted because ABK got delisted because they're about to get bought. They're about to get acquired, so they will no longer be ABK. They'll be under Microsoft, basically. So that happened, or it's happening. I think it happened, or it's happening this weekend for Monday, because I think Monday is when the deal's going to close. But anyway, let me know in the comments below. Did you think that the FTC would win? Check out that documentary, that whole Yakuza thing with the Nintendo and Sega. That's kind of interesting. And all these pony donkey unicorns, you know, is this really how y'all want to act right now? I mean, it's just video games, but at the same time, it's better overall for the industry. That's my whole thing. All these donkey unicorns are screaming and crying, and I'm like, yo, do you want video games to survive? If you do, then stop supporting Sony like that, because they're not in the interest of it. Like Jim Ryan said, I just want this deal to not go through. Why? Because it hurts Sony, not because it hurts consumers, not because it hurts the industry. It hurts Sony. Now, I understand that the bottom line for Sony is his prerogative, but at the same time, an unhealthy industry dictates that doesn't matter if Sony's doing good. An unhealthy industry is just trash for everybody. So Jim Ryan is on another planet, and I really don't like how he does business. So, but anyway, I appreciate y'all. Hit me up in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, I guess. I'm almost at 400, honestly. But I appreciate all you guys, and I'll definitely talk to y'all later. Till the wait.